നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പോകാൻ തോന്നുന്നുണ്ടോ സ്കൂളിൽ വരാൻ? ഞാൻ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഈ പാട്ട് കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ എപ്പോഴും എൻ്റെ സ്കൂൾ ഡേയ്സ് ഓർക്കാറുണ്ട്. ഇതൊരു നൊസ്റ്റാൾജിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സോങ് ആണ്. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നിങ്ങളും ഇപ്പോൾ സ്കൂൾ മിസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടാവില്ലേ? സോ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാനാണ്? വി ക്യാൻ ഡു വൺ തിങ്. ലെറ്റ് us all together pray to the Almighty so that very soon we all can meet. So once again I welcome you all to the new session of class. So in the previous class we had discussed about photosynthesis. Hope you all have watched the video and you have studied it thoroughly and have done the homeworks. And in this class we are going to discuss about what happens to glucose after photosynthesis. So before getting into the topic, let us have a look at the cartoon in the textbook. You can see in the cartoon a small girl, Beena. She has a doubt that glucose is the food that prepared by the plant. If so, how could we get protein, then fat and carbohydrate or starch from different plant parts? Have you ever had such doubt? How could we get all these nutrients from plants if it prepares glucose? Let us see the chemical changes in glucose. Do you like glucose? See, in our sports days, we teachers always come behind you with the glucose packets, Glucon-D packets, isn't it? And we will tell you that please have this, you will get more energy so you can perform well, like that. And what we used to do, either we put it directly in the mouth or we mix it in the water and we drink it. In both the cases, we can see that the glucose dissolves very fast, isn't it? That means glucose is highly soluble in water. Since glucose is highly soluble in water, the plants cannot store them in it. So how it can use the glucose for its life activities? So it has a technique. The plant convert glucose into insoluble starch and store in the leaves. And the plant use this starch for getting energy for its life activities and to prepare substances for its growth. This is how the plants utilize starch. Then the starch is again converted into sucrose, and sucrose is transported through phloem to different plant parts and stored in different forms. So this is what happens to glucose after photosynthesis. The glucose will undergo chemical changes. Now we have an illustration in the textbook. Let us see in which all plant parts, in which all forms the glucose is stored. I will explain it. So let us discuss the illustration. So in the illustration you can see photosynthesis takes place in the leaf. Then glucose is formed and glucose is converted in the form of starch and it is stored in the leaves. And again the starch is converted into sucrose, and sucrose is transported to different plant parts through phloem, and in different plant parts the sucrose will undergo metabolic activities. Metabolic activity is the chemical reaction which is needed for the plant or which is needed for the living beings to survive. So the sucrose will undergo metabolic activities, and as a result it will store in tubers in the form of starch and in legumes. Legumes means പയറുവർഗ്ഗ ചെടികൾ. In legumes in the form of protein, and in oil seeds in the form of fat, in fruits in the form of fructose, that is why fruits are so sweet, and in sugar cane in the form of sucrose. Sugarcane is also very sweet because fructose and sucrose are simple sugars. But the starch is complex sugar. So that we cannot feel the sweetness of the sugar present in the starch. So this is the chemical changes in glucose. So this you have to note down in the file. This is very important. So now you have understood about photosynthesis, isn't it? So all plants are producers. They can prepare their own food, isn't it? So not only plants, there are certain microorganisms like chemosynthetic bacteria. They can also prepare their own food. But the only difference is they never utilize sunlight for preparing food. Instead of that, they break down chemical compounds for producing energy. And one of such bacteria is sulfur bacteria, which is seen on land and also in water. So sulfur bacteria produce energy by breaking down chemical compounds, and the process is known as chemosynthesis. Here sunlight is not at all utilized. So hope you all have understood. Now we are moving on to the next topic. So we know that plants provide glucose, that is the food, and oxygen. So do plants provide only food and oxygen? Whether they provide any other things to us? So here we are going to discuss about the economic importance of plants. There are many plants which provide products. They are economically important. So let us have a look at the pictures on the screen. These plants are economically important plants. Many value added products are made from them, and the processing and marketing of these resources opens doors to various job opportunities. So now let us see what are the economically important products we get from these plants. You have to note down it. So the first one is coffee plant. We get coffee beans from the coffee plants. When we grind the coffee bean, we get coffee powder, and we use coffee powder for making coffee and many other products, isn't it? Then the next one is rubber, and we get latex from rubber, and we use rubber latex for making many rubber products. And the next one is pepper plant, and we get very important useful spice, that is pepper. And the last one is cocoa plant, and we get cocoa seeds from the cocoa plant, and cocoa powder is very useful for making chocolates as well as baking cakes. Understood, all of you? So these are some of the economically important plants. There are lots of economically important plants are around us, isn't it? Like tea, we get tea leaves from the tea plant. Then coconut tree, areca tree, and a variety of medicinal plants are there. And not only pepper, there are many other spices also, isn't it? So there are lots of economically important plants are there around us. We can see a variety in them, and these economically important plants provide a lots of job opportunities also. Now let us see some more examples of economically important plants and their products. So hope you all have understood this. So you can also collect more examples or more information about economically important plants and their products and their different uses. Now I am going to discuss with you about the job opportunities related to economically important plants. And we have an organization, that is NSFQ, that is National Skill Qualification Forum. So National Skill Qualification Forum introduces certain job opportunities related to economically important plans. So what this NSFQ doing is they organize qualification programs in different levels of knowledge, skill and aptitude. That is very important, aptitude. And this knowledge, skills and aptitude anybody can acquire through formal or informal learning. That's the important thing. No need to go and study in a college or school, because informal learning is also possible in this case. These are some of the job opportunities introduced by NSQF, and they are assistant gardener, then florist, then cotton cultivator and timber grower. All these are related to the plants only. And not only this, there are lots of job opportunities: horticulture, agriculture, floriculture. Florist, this job is related to floriculture. If you love flowers, if you have creativity, you can arrange beautifully. You can arrange the flowers beautifully, even for a wedding, isn't it? So a lots of job opportunities are there based on the economically importance of plants. So collect more information about this and prepare a note about it. Okay. Now let us move on to the next topic. It is very interesting topic that we are going to discuss about ocean. Ocean at par with the land. That is how the life is taking place in land. In the same manner, the life is there in ocean also. And you know about ocean, isn't it? It is a high extensive area than land, and it has its own amazing diversity of organisms also. From small phytoplankton, zooplanktons to the biggest animals like whales. A variety of organisms we can see in the ocean. Now, let us enjoy a small video of ocean. Okay. So you know that the life is possible on land only because of photosynthesis. Then how life is possible in ocean? It is also because of the photosynthesis. So now, with the help of an illustration, let us discuss the importance of photosynthesis in ocean. So here is the illustration. So in the illustration, you can see the sun, the bright sun. Sun is the prime source of energy in the biosphere. and the sun rays are reaching on the land as well as in the ocean. And in the ocean, you can see its diversity of organisms. Then the phytoplanktons, algae, water plants, then a ship, many things you can see in the illustration, isn't it? So, how does photosynthesis take place in the ocean? The phytoplanktons, algae and water plants, these are the chief producers in the ocean. And the phytoplanktons are the small microscopic organisms. They are free floating organisms found in oceans, and they perform photosynthesis. And algae, you know what is algae, then water plants are also present in the ocean. So using the carbon dioxide from atmosphere and hydrogen from the water, they perform photosynthesis. As a result, food, that is glucose and oxygen, is produced. And this food and oxygen is being utilized by the fishes and other organisms in the ocean. So this is how photosynthesis is taking place, and the small organisms to the largest whale, they get food from phytoplanktons, algae and water plants. And the birds and animals, these are terrestrial organisms, and as well as human beings also depend upon the living beings or the fishes and other organisms in the ocean for food, isn't it? So this ocean is very important. It is our responsibility to protect the ocean, because the oxygen we get from the atmosphere, isn't it? 70 to 80% of atmospheric oxygen is contributed by the algae and water plants in the ocean. So the photosynthesis which is taking place in the ocean is very important to maintain the level of oxygen in the atmosphere. So from the illustration we have understood the importance of photosynthesis in the ocean. See, oxygen is very important for the existence of living beings on earth, and the algae and phytoplanktons are the chief contributors of oxygen in the atmospheric air. So I told you about the oceanic pollution. So you would have seen or you would have read about the oceanic pollution in the newspaper or in the social medias and all, isn't it? So what are the reasons behind the oceanic pollution? The important reasons are the dumping of chemical waste, then the waste from the nuclear reactors, the electronic waste. These wastes are dumping in the ocean. Many boats and ships are sailing in the sea. From them sometimes the oil will be leaked. So the oil leakage is also a reason behind the oceanic pollution. So how can we reduce the oceanic pollution? That is in our hands, isn't it? We should have a concern about the nature, about the ocean. We should not dump these kind of waste in the ocean. We should give awareness to the people about this. Then only we can protect the organisms in the ocean. See, if no photosynthesis, what will happen? Gradually, the organisms in the ocean will be destroyed, and that will adversely affect the terrestrial organisms who depend upon the aquatic organisms for their food, isn't it? And not only that, the oxygen level in the atmosphere will be decreased. So when the oceanic pollution increases, the rate of photosynthesis in the ocean will be decreased. That will adversely affect the terrestrial organisms also. Understood all of you? So it is very important to protect the ocean. You all have heard about algae, isn't it? Actually, their world is diverse. Based on the quantity of the pigment present in them, there are different types of algae, red, green, brown, etc. And their size is also different, a variety we can see. Microscopic algae are there at the same time, very long algae are also there. Have you heard about sargassum algae? These are brown algae. They are very long algae, and it is seen in Pacific Ocean, and where this sargassum algae are seen, there is no sea roots actually, because it is that much long. And I have already told you about phytoplanktons. They are microscopic floating organisms seen in ocean, and desmids, then golden algae are some of the examples of phytoplanktons. Okay, so in this class we have discussed about the chemical changes of glucose, then chemosynthesis, economical importance of plants, then the what is the importance of photosynthesis in ocean. So hope you all have understood the concepts. If you have any doubt, you can contact me. So do all the activities, that is note down the illustrations in the file and study well. Then see you in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.